back to Emily A to C, and today is the start of a new TBR Tackle, and I'm using my brand new camera, and I'd much rather talk about the books that I've read recently than do this laundry, which I need to do, because it never ends. Anyways, don't judge me. I am wearing green tie-dye sweatpants with a kind of casual, kind of nice sweater, because I'm going to dinner tonight with a good friend, and I am gonna be wearing like different jeans, obviously, but I'm not gonna wear jeans when I'm just hanging around the house doing chores like laundry. No, that sounds awful. Also, forgive the lighting. The sun is behind me. It's that time of day. The sunlight is bright, okay? We're stressed here. I've got to change soon. I have to head out. I have plenty of time. I have an hour and a half, but it's stressful, okay? Anyways, can we just talk about books? Thanks. I just spent the last half hour talking about books. I just filmed my March TBR, okay? I'm just trying to get all of this filming done. I have this bulk camera, my bulk camera now. I have my camera now, so I can just film and then transfer the clips over to my computer, empty out the memory card, and bada bam, bada boom. I definitely need more batteries. Add that to the list, right? I have a lot of socks. What is happening? Anyways, wash your slippers. Pro tip. Guys, I finished 2 books and had 2 very different reactions to finishing both books. Number 1, I finished Tremors in the Blood. By the end of it, I just didn't care anymore, and that's awful to admit, but I didn't. I didn't really get what was going on anymore. We followed like the one case from the beginning, but then after that case got like resolved, the book kept going, and I didn't quite, I don't know, I think I just kind of lost it. And it was hard for me to pay attention to. The narrator was great. I loved his voice. I just tuned him out and could not stay focused on it. I ended up giving it a 2. I liked it at first. The premise was great. It drew me in. But then I just didn't care anymore and wanted it to be over. And I had minutes left on the audiobook and found myself like staring at it, the minutes counting down. And it was just like, why are we still talking? What is going on? Like, why are we doing this? These are my pants I'm probably going to wear. They're clean. Anyways. So that was disappointing. The live show for it already happened. It was the pick for the Morbidly Curious book club. Oh shoot, I didn't talk about the Morbidly Curious book club in my TBR. That's alright. That's called Gory Details. I'll tell you now. That's called Gory Details. I'll pop it up on screen. That's March's pick. But anyways, the book club was already, like the live show was streamed on YouTube. I still need to watch it. I'm curious to see what other people thought, if they kind of had a similar experience to me, where like I was really drawn in at the beginning, but then I just didn't care anymore. I thought it was interesting, but I just couldn't really remember who was who. There were so many names and so many different like cases and criminals and suspects that it just became like too much. Anyways, I also finished Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I gave that 4.5 stars. It's not quite a 5. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved it, ate it up, but I don't think it's going to be one of my favorites of the year. It definitely has like bumped Grady Hendrix up. Like, I've only read 2 of his things. I've read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and now I've read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and I loved both of them. I love the way he writes. I really do. I love his writing style. This book was heavy, and not just because it's a 480 some odd page book, okay? My husband made that joke last night, and I was like, I will smack you with this heavy book. But it covers heavy topics. It's all about a home for unwed mothers in the 70s, when it was still like really frowned upon to have a child out of wedlock. And it was definitely portrayed as it was all the women's fault, like these young girls. And the thing is that they were children. Like, and that part is hammered home. They are 14, 15, 16, 17. Like, they are kids that are put in this position and forced to make a horrible decision to give birth to this child and then be forced to give it up for adoption because it is intentionally set just a handful, like 2 to 3 years before the passing of Roe v. Wade. So they didn't have any other options. This was their only option. And it's intense. It is. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to give you some trigger warnings. There are vivid descriptions of childbirth in this book. And that fucked me up. I am not going to lie. That messed me up. I know that things are different now than they were in the 70s, but no. That's terrifying, okay? Woo, traumatic. I read those sections and my husband was like, "Are you okay?" Because that was like the most horrifying part of that book for me. I sat there and was just like, I can't. I should have filmed it because I know my face. I know that I was making like the worst possible faces. And I was like, "It's childbirth." And he was like, "Oh." And then he tried to be like, "Well, it's magical and it's this beautiful thing." And I was like, "Shut up. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. You are a man, and as wonderful as you are, this is one thing you will never understand, so shut up." And he was like, "Yep, okay." Bless him. I just think for that alone, I was like, I can't give it a 5. Like, that fucked me up. That was so disturbing. But I really enjoyed it. I liked the story. If pregnancy is a trigger, if birth and labor and delivery is a trigger, this is not gonna be okay for you. There's lots of blood, and there's a lot of there are topics of child abuse and child sexual abuse and mistreatment of women as a whole, mistreatment of young women, mistreatment of colored women, and it's very powerful. That is more of the story. I think Grady Hendrix does a really good job of having horrific elements or supernatural elements that are mixed with the horror of people, and I enjoy that immensely. I have folded my stuff. This was a small load. I must have already put some of it away. So I'm going to leave it here before my lighting gets even more worse. Even more terrible. And go edit some stuff because I have to. Thank you. I'll see you soon. It's Monday. Hello. And it's my anniversary. Which is crazy. So today is my husband and I's 5th wedding anniversary. And it doesn't seem like it. We've talked about this with our family and with each other, obviously. We've been together for 10 years. We've been married for 5. And it's we were just like, no, it's only been 3 years. We've only been together for 3 years. What do you mean we've been married for 5 years? It's crazy. Yeah. So he has to work today. I work today. But Caden had school off, which is interesting. We have a chiro appointment in a little over an hour. So we're going to go that. Caden and I are going to go to our chiro. And then after chiro, Caden and I are going to go have dinner. And while we're at dinner, we're going to pick up food for my husband and we're going to bring it to him to his job because he has to work until 8 o'clock. So he doesn't get to have dinner with us. The funny thing is, so Italian food or pasta is my husband and I's thing for dates and special occasions. It's always ended up that anytime we would go on a date and have an important conversation or an anniversary or a celebration or something like that, it's always Italian food. We always have these big moments over pasta. When we started dating 10 years ago, we went out to eat at a nice Italian restaurant and had our dinner, and over our pasta dishes, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and here we are.
And so I had mentioned to my friend, I kind of wanted to try and recreate our first date. Unfortunately, I can't do that because the restaurant we went to is in a completely different state and I can't easily get there to celebrate. And it made me kind of sad. I know it's like, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. Like, I think every celebration is a big deal. Every anniversary or every birthday, like, it should always be treated as a celebration. And I had said that to her and I was like, I don't know, and I just want to do something special, but I'm not sure what to do. This woman, this beautiful woman, sent us a pasta maker. I get emotional. She sent us a pasta maker with a beautiful note that says, "We love you guys, happy anniversary. Like, have your pasta at home," basically. Like, we thought it would be cute. I'm crying in our kitchen. Like, what? I go to work today. I tell my friend at work, she's a wonderful friend and coworker, tell her what was happening. That a different friend bought us a pasta maker, so I was, I told her the whole thing. I wanted to recreate our date, but so she sent us a pasta maker. So I guess now I'm going to figure out a pasta recipe so that we can make pasta together as a date. We're gonna do that while Caden is on spring break, while he's with his grandparents over spring break. So we'll have some adult time. And she goes, "Emily, I need to interrupt you." And I was like, okay. She's like, "I'm not trying to be mean. We made pasta sauce over the weekend." And why this is important. Her grandmother unfortunately passed away last year, and it was a horrible loss. Her grandmother owned and ran an Italian restaurant for many years. And so her family have been trying to recreate her recipes to have and to pass on and to enjoy. So this past weekend, she and her mom had gotten together and made a bunch of different sauces, recreating her grandmother's like recipes. And she had extra, so she brought it to work today and had put it in the freezer and was going to like leave it or offer it up for anyone to use. And she's like, "It's meant to be like, this is your pasta sauce." So then we're both like crying because I'm an emotional wreck and I don't handle it when people do nice things for me. Obviously, I get really emotional. So I've got this pasta maker. She made this like homemade sauce that was her grandmother's recipe and is important to her. And she's like, "This is for you. This is now your sauce. You're gonna go make homemade pasta with my grandma's recipe." With the pasta maker from our other friend to celebrate me and my husband. And it's like, guys, I can't. It just means a lot to me to know that we have a system here of support, like a support system here, and we have people that love not just me and not just him, but they love us, and that is invaluable. So excuse my silly tears. But anyways, the plan tonight, we're not making pasta tonight because it's a regular school night. Like, I have work tomorrow, Caden's got school tomorrow, my husband's at work. That's gonna wait. But we are gonna go get Italian food and we're gonna bring it to my husband at his work, and he doesn't know we're gonna do this. So we're gonna surprise him with Italian food. And it's gonna be fun. Before that though, I just wanted to share. Of course, I had to stop and get me a sweet drink. This local coffee shop again. This is one of those. This is like my one alien energy drink of the month kind of thing. That's a lie. I'll have another because this is not their monthly flavor. They're doing like a specialty, like flavors of energy drinks that are all Scooby-Doo themed characters. So they all have. This is Velma. And it was dragon fruit and orange. It's pretty good. It feels like it's missing something though. Like the orange is really powerful. I'm not really getting anything else. I would like to try it with maybe more dragon fruit. But their other like monthly flavor for March is, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but it's like green apple and kiwi. And I've had that before and it is so good. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So I have my earbud in. I have started All Boys Aren't Blue, and I'm going to finish it today because it's only a 5-hour audiobook, and I'm listening to it at like 1.65 speed, so I got through most of it at work today. I only have an hour of the audiobook left, so I'm going to sit and work on that. I'm going to listen to that while I sit here at my table and work on a puzzle. Hello, welcome. It's Tuesday. It is raining. It is a very chilly, wet afternoon. I've got about an hour before I have to go get Caden from school, and I thought that maybe we could chat while I work on this puzzle a little bit and try and solve this puzzle for my job. Putting the pieces together, see if any of them are missing, and if there are, I will record how many and bring it back to work and like let them know how many pieces are missing, and we go from there. This is a 750 piece puzzle called Discover Fantasy, and it's a castle. So we've got like a gradient sky, and there's a little bit of water. There's a whole lot of like this weird brown right here that I think is going to be difficult because it's like mountains. So yeah, we'll see. So yesterday I read and finished this entire book. All Boys Aren't Blue. I read the entire thing. I listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by the author, who at the time of publication was going by he, him pronouns, and I believe now is using they, them pronouns. And it is just a beautiful young adult memoir. I decided whilst reading this that I'm no longer going to be rating memoirs. It just feels weird. Like, how am I supposed to rate your story? Like, this is the story of your life, and it doesn't feel right for me to put a star rating on that. It's not up to me to dictate the quality of your life. He talks about growing up Black and queer, and the struggles that he faced, and the bullying he faced, the homophobia, but never from his own family. His family was always accepting and inclusive, and I think that is wonderful, and not every youth gets that experience when they're discovering themselves and trying to come out. They dealt with a lot of denial, or like internalized homophobia. It took them a long time to come out, to admit that they are in fact gay, and it follows them from their childhood through college. So definitely aimed for young adults. And yes, it just really addresses those concepts of being a queer Black kid and growing up, and how you make your communities and what you need for a community, and highlighting what it was like. There are some heavier topics in here. He does talk about child sexual assault and child sexual abuse, and there is some drug use, there is bullying, like I said, there is violence. He is attacked when he is young, and there are some heavy parts, but as the author says, like, they felt that it was important for this to be included, that teens need to know this, because like there were going to be some people that are going to say like, hey, this is too much for a teen, And the author's response is, "You're right, but this was my experience. So if I had to live it, why can't I talk about it? Because there are other teens going through this as well." And that's like, this means going to places and discussing some subjects that are often kept away from teens for fear of them being too heavy. But the truth of the matter is, these things happened to me when I was a child, teenager, and young adult. So as heavy as these subjects may be, it is necessary that they are not only told, but also read by teens who may have to navigate many of these same experiences in their own lives. This book will touch on sexual assault, including molestation, loss of virginity, homophobia, racism, and anti-Blackness. These discussions at times may be a bit graphic, but nonetheless they are experiences that many reading this book will encounter or have already encountered, and I want those readers to be seen and heard in these pages. Yeah, and I guess the book has photos. I listened to it, so I didn't know, but there are some pictures through here of the author's life and childhood, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I believe they have another book, and I think I will check that out sometime in the future, and I will gladly read more from this author. Beautiful. Beautiful. What else? So yes, I listened to it. It was a 5-hour audiobook, and really easy to get through during the day. And I did. The other book then, so I read that yesterday. Then the other book I have started today is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. This is based off of a true story. And, I was wrong. When I was in my March TBR, I was like, Lael, it's Lale. His name is Lale. On the back here, it's a quote from an interview. "I tattooed her number on her left hand, and she tattooed her number in my heart." Lale Sokolov in an interview with Heather Morris. So we are following Lale and how he grew up in Slovakia, and he was Jewish. They were told that every Slovakian Jewish family had to give up one of their children to go to a work camp. So he volunteered. He is his mom's their youngest son. So he volunteered and went, and then realized that this was a prison, and they sent him to Auschwitz. And he got very lucky. It sucks to say that, but it's true. He got very lucky, and that the current tattooist essentially took an interest in him. Someone else, he got really, really sick, right away, and one of his other prisoners and bunkmates risked their life to save him, to prevent him from being killed, and then lost his life in the process. Because of that, the tattooist was like, if someone was willing to lay their life on the line for you, I figured you're someone worth saving. So I'm going to take you under my wing to try and help you, because if you take this job as a tattooist, you will get more privileges and you'll have a better time. You won't have to do hard labor. You get extra food rations at mealtime, and the guards won't harass you as much or at all if they know that you are special. And so he agrees, and he starts doing this job, and then he it's the phrase that keeps getting throughout is if you save the one, saving one to save the many kind of stuff. And so now he is kind of working this smuggling operation where he has met the girl that he is fallen in love with. He tattooed her, Gita, and they're cute, But he has gotten with some of the girls that are also at Auschwitz that work in a different area where they go through the clothing of the prisoners that have been confiscated, and they like ruffle through it, and if they find money or jewels or whatever, they smuggle it to him. He has made a connection with local, like not local, but like Russian workers that aren't captives. They come into the prison camp to work like day jobs, and has like a relationship with them where he gives them the jewels and the money and stuff and trades it. And these workers, these like day laborers, then give him even more food. Or he's gotten medicine once. He asked for chocolate to give to the ladies, and as this like secret trade. So that's what's currently happening. I'm about halfway through, and I know that something has to happen. This can't go on in, perpetuity. I'm sure he gets caught or something happens. I realized it was really far away, so I'm holding it way back here. I'm scared. I'm nervous. He's able to like pull some strings with some of the officers his girl got really sick. Gita got really, really sick. And after she recovered, but she was still kind of frail, he managed to get her transferred so she wouldn't have to do hard labor, and got her transferred to like an indoor office job where it was heated and she would be inside out of the elements. And it's just the solidarity between the prisoners. Like they don't know each other at all, but in there, that is your family now. And it's heavy, and it's really well written so far. I don't have anything bad to say about it. So other than, I know I was like dreading it because I don't like historical fiction, and I still say that this has been fine. I've not had any complaints towards it, and I could potentially say that I am happy to be reading it. I have learned things that I didn't know, and it's one of those things where I feel like I should know. I should know about this. There are details discussed in here about life in the camps and that time, the Holocaust in general, that I just, it's crazy. So I didn't know that the people that tattooed them were other prisoners, and that they forced them to do this to each other. And like, that's a recurring theme of it is, I don't want to cause harm. I'm hurting people. And they're like, it's better that we do it than one of them, because they'll do it and they'll hurt them intentionally to do it, versus we could tattoo them. And yes, it's going to be painful, but we can do it better. And, it's not a modern day tattoo. It's like a stick and poke tattoo where they like smack the needle into their arm, and then they take the ink and wipe the ink over the tattoo. It's crazy. And I'm like, how many people got infected, and yeah. So I'm going to put that audiobook back on through Libby, and work on this puzzle for a little while longer. If I can get it to pull up. Yep, so about 50%. Gonna listen to it for a bit longer, work on this puzzle, and then after Caden gets home, I have to edit. That's not gonna be fun, but I have to. I've got to work on editing. And I'll check in later. Hello. I gotta check in because I think my battery is gonna die soon. And I gotta get editing after this. Just got a haircut. I got it colored 2 weeks ago, but we didn't have time to cut it because I had to go get Caden. But I got it cut just now. Hi. Hi, sweet pea. No. Both of them are here because, of course, I left and came back. Why did I take my glasses off? I don't know, but I did. Fresh cut. She styled it. I love it. Anyways. So I finished The Tattooist of Auschwitz last night, and it did not break me like I thought it would. There were a couple moments that was heart-wrenching and just soul-crushing, to be honest. Just stuff that the individuals and people went through. Like, there are never going to be enough words to make up for or to just to describe the horrors, right? People are awful. The things that we have done to each other is awful, and it's just the worst. I gave it a 4. It's not a 5 for me. It's not like I'm sitting here like, I loved it. It was the best. Like, I don't know if I will ever give like a historical fiction a 5, but it was a really good book. And I am glad that I read it. I am glad that it was picked for the biographical fiction. I am glad that there was an author's note that talked about the author interviewing Lale in real life and how it took 3 years to get his story out, and just that was his story. And yeah, that being said, what's next? I don't know. I don't know how to like top that. I am going to hopefully start the Book of Everlasting Things tonight, because that's one that I'm going to tandem read. I'm going to have the book and the audiobook going at the same time, because I think that is something that I need to do with this book. Books that are set in like fantasy locations or in foreign locations that have place names that I have never heard before or character names that I've never heard before, it's really helpful for me to hear it. So then I feel confident that I've said it correctly, and I want to do that with this book. So that will be happening. But I need a new audiobook to listen to like when I'm at work. And I think I'm going to do, it's not on my monthly TBR, but it's a book that I've had on hold for a long time, and it's finally available. And I don't know when I'm going to get a copy of it again, because a lot of people want it. And that is The Prestige by Christopher Priest. There was a movie adaptation of this that came out several years ago, starring Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. And I was obsessed with this novel, with this movie when it came out. Utterly obsessed. Realized a little while ago that it was based off of a book, and I've been meaning to read it since then. So that's on my TBR. Like, that's on my like list TBR, not my physical TBR. So that's there. Like I said, I put this on hold a long time ago. The audiobook finally came through. I cannot get my hands on a physical copy of this. My library does not have it. I cannot get it through like an interlibrary loan. Like, no one has it near me. So the audiobook is finally available. And I might start that. I only have it for a couple more days. And again, other people also want this book. So I have that going for me. So I think that's next on my list. Otherwise, the other thing is, I never talked about my like stats from February. So let's do, okay. I make a lot of graphics and stuff in Canva, so I opened Canva to like look at this, and all the sorts of things popped up. So like, I made my own Literally Dead graphic for the Literally Dead book club, and then I created my own Read with Pride graphic. I just like how they look, and then when I can post them up on my Instagram story, and then it's right there. They're fun, they're eye-catching, it's super easy. I wanted to be able to have like a visual of all of the like LGBTQIA plus books that I've read by the end of the year. So I'm not putting just the Read with Pride like book club picks, I'm putting all of them on there, and going to have that available.
I'm not trying to make a graphic right now. I'm trying to go home. So there was that. But let's talk about February real fast. So I will pop up my like graphics and stuff up on the screen as I did last time and just kind of go through it again. I read a total of 10 books, which is 5 less than I read in January. But that is okay. Did I delete those graphics? I'm gonna be really sad. No, I didn't. Perfect. So according to Storygraph, I read 2,009 pages. I listened to, I think they're wrong, but I listened to 39.5 hours, and my average rating was a 3.8, which was higher than January. My highest rated books were Anxious People, Nothing to See Here, and Grady Hendrix. My average book length was 327 pages, and my average time it took me to finish a book was 5 days. Mostly read fiction, and surprisingly, half of the books I read this month were physical, and then the other half, then the next was audio, and then digital. And I mean, yeah, I think that's about it. And the majority of my books that I listen to audiobook wise, like, I'm sorry if this part is boring. I am a stats like girly, okay? I am obsessed with this. I keep detailed stats. So I love this. These things make me happy. So then like looking at like further breakdowns, like 50% of the books I read like physically were between 300 and like 500 pages. And then 33% were less than 300 pages. 17% were more than 500 pages. With my audiobooks, 75% were between 8 and 16 hours, and 25% were less than 8 hours. Like, I don't know. I love looking at this stuff. I love looking at trends. Like, I read predominantly mystery books. I had a couple contemporary, a couple thriller, like a couple, and then like literary and LGBTQIA+. Like, it's so interesting to me. And then on a different like spreadsheet that I keep, one of the things I track, so at the end of every month, I pull out my big spreadsheet, and then I sit down and I force my husband to listen to me go over all of my book stats. And he is a good sport, and he will listen and be like, yes, that's wonderful, honey. And I'm just like, isn't this fascinating? And he's like, sure is. I have a weird, I don't know what the conspiracy is, but here's my conspiracy theory about my own reading, okay? A quarter of the books that I have read this entire year, admittedly, there's only been 2 months that have passed, but of the 25 books I've read so far, which now it's technically 27, but of those books that I have read so far, a quarter of them have blue covers. And I don't feel like I gravitate towards the blue covers, but my stats say otherwise. So I'm keeping an eye on this trend. And I am just so intrigued by like, what is pulling me to blue covers? Why do I grab blue covers? Like, are blue covers primarily certain genres, or is it in a certain year? Like, where was blue a very popular color during the year, like the early 2000s, the early 2020s? Why am I pulling blue? And then I sat there and I looked at my husband the other night and was like, I say that orange is my favorite color. I have read 0 orange books, which really, I don't think there are necessarily a lot of orange books, but I've read 0 orange books. But a quarter of them are blue. Is blue my favorite color? Do I secretly love blue and I just don't know it? I don't know. That's all I wanted to say. I gotta leave this clip here. I've got some stuff I need to do before the boys get home. We have a busy day. Caden's got a dentist appointment, and Caden starts a new sport tonight. So I've got to get myself like ready, put on not sweatpants. One of my really good friends is my hairstylist, so I don't care to show up in sweatpants for her, but other stuff, right? But gotta get him there. I set up the crock pot earlier so we wouldn't have to worry about dinner. So the crock pot is going. My house smells amazing. We have a dentist appointment, and then we're gonna eat dinner and then go to his next sports practice. And yeah,
I will check in because I need a book for sports. So wish me luck. Okay, I'll see you. All right, it is Friday morning, which means I need to wrap this up and say my see you laters, go to work, and do all the things. So, when did I last film? Wednesday? Thursday? Not Thursday. Tuesday? Tuesday. I had finished. Yes, I had finished. My audiobooks. I'd finished All Boys Are Blue and The Tattooist of Auschwitz. So then I needed an audiobook for work. So I picked, and I started it yesterday. The Prestige. This cover is so dark. Can I? Does this help? Maybe? The Prestige. This is the book. This is the digital book. I can't find a physical copy of this. I can show you. So this is like the digital cover versus like Libby. The audiobook cover. It's much easier to see. So this is the digital. This is the audiobook. So I started that easy. I'm 28% of the way in. Boop. I was gonna hold it up, but you can't even see like the covers and it's not worth it. So that's fine. I'll just like pop it on screen. All that work just to whatever. So I started it and I saw the film when it came out and was obsessed with this film. Loved it, watched it multiple times, and immediately want to watch it again. This is not what I was expecting, and I kind of love that. So we're getting like multiple POVs. We're starting off with Andrew Wesley. Who the heck is Andrew Wesley? We find out he is actually this like adopted son of, like, he was put up for adoption when he was a kid. Doesn't know why, doesn't care. He gets like a mysterious note that's like has information about his like potential family, his family legacy. And he meets this woman who is like, I think I know you, like we've met before, you just don't remember, right? And so we have their introduction where she's like, our ancestors knew each other and hated each other. My like great great grandfather and your great great grandfather were both like stage magicians in like the 1800s in London, and they had like this long-standing feud, and we don't really know like why anymore. Like it's been lost to time. No one really understands what happened. So hopefully we can figure it out. Like she wants to figure it out. Plus there's like something else going on where he thinks he has a twin brother, but he can't find any evidence that he had an identical twin that was also put up for adoption. So like there's some stuff going on. We get a couple chapters there, and then it jumps into like this book that Andrew's relative, like ancestor, wrote that is supposed to be detailing his life. So we get his whole life story. Then we jumped back to the present, or we're going to jump back to the present. I kind of looked at like the chapter headings because I was so confused when I started. And it was like, okay, so we're here with Andrew, then it's going to be his ancestors' point of view. Then we're going to jump back to the present with the woman. Her name is Kate. Then it's going to go back to her ancestors' point of view. And then the last few chapters are just called like the Prestiges. So those are obviously going to be the climax of the story. I am very interested. I'm just now in the part of Andrew's ancestor talking about his life. We're getting his side of the story of like how he became a magician and things like that in his life. And it's a little weird. There are some moments where you're like, what? Where it's like he's talking to himself in this book that he's writing. So I'm enjoying it. I have no idea what it's going to end up being after I finish it, but I am enjoying it. I am intrigued. Like, I want to know what is going on. Tell me everything. Yeah. And as much as I'm just kind of hoping, I love the movie so much, so I'm trying to not let my perception of the movie color my feelings towards the book, but I think they are, just because I love that movie so much and I want to watch it again, like right now, and I think I will be watching it as soon as I finish this book. It has just reawakened my need for that movie. It's so good. If you have not seen it, like, go watch it. It's Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, I think Scarlett Johansson is in it. Am I mistaken? Well, anyways, the other thing I started and have gotten a decent way through is The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex. I had a different book I could physically read right now, but it just wasn't calling to me, so I grabbed The Lamplighters. Plus, this is a library book, and it does have a due date, so I grabbed it, and I feel like it's going by really quickly. This is just Tuesday, 2 days of progress. This is Wednesday and Thursday, and only about, like, 2 hours of reading has gotten me this far. Like, it's good. This is also, like, we're jumping back and forth. We are jumping from 1972, and then we'll jump to 1992. In 1972, the lighthouse keepers, 3 of them that were on this particular lighthouse known as the Maiden, they suddenly went missing. Their relief showed up to bring them supplies, to switch someone out, and when they got there, all 3 of them are gone. The door was locked from the inside. The clocks had mysteriously stopped. There were place settings for 2 people at the dinner table to eat, like a meal was being laid, and they're all just gone. And no one knows what happened. And then we jump forward 20 years into 1992, where an author is wanting to, like, write a book about what happened. And so we are getting chapters. Let me kind of grab my thoughts. I think my battery is going to die if I don't wrap this up. So 1972, we're getting perspective from the 3 different lightkeepers, Bill, Vince, and Arthur. And then we'll jump forward, and then we're getting chapters from the women they left behind, their wives, and in one case, their girlfriend. And the women's chapters are like, they're speaking to us, like they're talking to this author that wants to write this novel. The men's chapters are more story based, like a regular book kind of thing, if that makes sense. It's very interesting so far. I'm also eating this up very quickly, and I am enjoying it, and it makes me want to, like, watch that, like, Lighthouse movie that starred Robert Pattinson, but I don't know if I actually want to watch that. It's just making me want to, like, engage with this kind of material more. I found a, like, deep ocean playlist that I was listening to while reading this, and that just, like, also set the mood. Yeah, totally. Okay, I'm gonna go before my battery dies. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this TBR Tackle. I will see you all very, very soon with the start of the next one. Be easy with your hearts.